Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. First of all, if this is the first video you're watching from me, I post new book reviews almost every single day, so if that sounds interesting to you or if you're just looking for some reading inspiration, feel free to stick around. Let's dive into the book that we're going to be reviewing today, however, and that is volume 22 in a series that I have been reading and loving, Komi Can't Communicate by Tomohito Oda. So this is what the cover of this looks like. I did have to order this from another library, which is going to become relevant in my review. This is what the cover looks like. It's a very pretty cover. The class in this book is on a class trip, so they're in this cathedral, and I really just did like the cover of this volume. So let's talk volume 22, what's happening, what's going on. First of all, if you are just watching this video, I am going to assume you have some familiarity with the story thus far, but as a brief recap, the main character of this entire series, the character Komi in the title, this girl right here has a communication disorder. She struggles to talk to people, she's very, very shy, but she wants to make a lot of friends. In the beginning of the series, she becomes friends with Tadano, who is this boy in her class who realizes that Komi isn't aloof and thinking that she's better than everyone, which was kind of this perception that other people had. She was just really shy and wanted to make friends. So they've teamed up and Komi has set this goal to make 100 friends, and her friend group has definitely expanded to the point where in volume 22 she has quite a large group of friends. And in the process, Komi has developed feelings for Tadano. Of course, with all these friends, someone else is going to develop feelings for Tadano, and that is, I almost said Najimi, not Najimi, but Komi's good friend Manbagi, whose hair we can see right here. Her face really isn't on this cover. And this series kind of has been balancing two elements throughout the last 21 volumes, and that is the friendship element. Komi is making friends, Komi is having these interactions with friends, and the friendships really are a key part of the story. The friendships don't just feel like an accessory to the story, they really feel like a part of the story where I do care about the friendship timelines, the friendship plots, the friendship elements, and if a series just has if a entry in the series just has a heavy focus on friendship, I don't mind. However, this series is also balancing that friendship with romance and this kind of love triangle that's developed between Tadano, Manbagi, and Komi. Komi and Manbagi both know that they both have feelings for Tadano. They've discussed it with each other. They've come to this agreement that they still want to be friends with each other. But Tadano has been more or less in the dark. I feel like he has some clues. I feel like he kind of maybe knows some of what's going on, but he's less in the know than Komi and Manbagi. So the series has been balancing, or I would say each volume in the series tips more towards one or the other. Maybe there's a heavier focus on friendship while the romance simmers, or maybe the volume chooses to focus on the romance. And volume 22 definitely leans very heavily into the romance side. So this is a continuation from volume 21 where Komi's high school is on their class trip and they are in New York City. So they are experiencing New York, they're seeing the sights, they're having all these experiences. But instead of leaning heavily in volume 22 into the friendship element, into the usual class trip shenanigans that Komi could be having with her friends, the story has a huge focus, at least I found, on the romance side. The series, I feel like, is leaning heavily into romance in this part of the series, and I think this is going to continue into volume 23 just by some of the clues that I got. So the tensions are definitely peaking between Manbagi and Komi because they're both at a point where they want to confess, but Manbagi is definitely a little bit more confident in herself, where she's also just a little bit more outgoing as a person, so she is trying to confess on this class trip, and it's leading to this tension between Komi and Manbagi where neither one of them wants to hurt the other, but also they have these feelings for Tadano that they want him to know. So the focus of volume 22 really is less the class trip and more on the romance and this love triangle and what's going to happen. I will do a slight spoiler, not really. The love triangle does not come to a conclusion in volume 22. This is going to continue into volume 23, which I'm a little stressed about. As I mentioned, I did have to borrow volume 22 from another library. My library doesn't have this series, or at least I don't think they have all the volumes in this series. So I'm having to order them in, and to order from another library, the volume can't be, or the book can't be new at the other library you're ordering from. Basically, it's designed so that patrons at the other library have first dibs when the book is on the new shelf, but then when it comes off the new shelf, it kind of becomes available to everyone in the state to borrow. So I think it's a fair system, but this volume was quite new. And volume 23, I don't know if there's any libraries, I'll have to look, where it's off the new shelf. It says 2016. on the inside cover. But I did notice that a lot of libraries had volume 22 on the new shelf. There was only a couple libraries that had volume 22 not on the new shelf, which makes me worry that volume 23, a lot of them are still going to be on the new shelf for whatever reason. I guess even if it was printed way back in 2016, maybe that was just the Japanese version, not sure. Even if they might still be on the new shelf and I might not be able to get them right away, so I'm a little nervous about that, and I'm hoping it can come off them. I think my sister actually physically owns all the copies of the Komi Can't Communicate series that are translated in English as of right now, so if none of the libraries have them that I can borrow, I might go to her and ask her to borrow volume 23 because I really want to see where this series ends. Volume 22 kind of ends on a cliffhanger, as much as a cliffhanger as a like romance comedy slice of life manga series can have. It's not like someone's literally dangling from a cliff, but it does have a little bit of tension that isn't resolved. Of course, even though there's a lot of focus on feelings and emotions and romance, it's not all that. There's humorous moments. It is Komi Can't Communicate. This series makes me laugh out loud. Two of my favorite moments include our favorite character, well, not quite our favorite character. We have this very narcissistic character named Naruse, and of course the boys are talking amongst themselves about who they like, which is something they do frequently. I mean, they're teenagers. And Naruse thinks about it and then goes, myself, which I admire his confidence. Not quite the question at hand, but I did find that funny. And also, of course, provides some relief from the continually escalating tension between the girls. And the other thing that I thought was funny, I find that probably for copyright or some other reason, usually they don't have like the real names of things in manga series. So like Starbucks will be like, I don't know, Starbanks or something. They edit it so it's not like McDonald's would be like WickDonald's with like a W instead. So it's not like the actual thing. I assume so they don't run into like copyright or branding issues. But we have John F. Kennedy Airport. Obviously a play on John F. Kennedy or JFK Airport in New York, which I thought was really, really funny. I don't know why that one got me so much. I was like, John F. Kennedy. Yes. So I just thought that was some light, humorous moments in the volume. I liked it overall. Have some tension that needs to be resolved in volume 23. Hope I can get my hands on a volume, even if it's through my sister. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this series goes going forward, because I think some of this romance stuff has to be resolved. And I hope it gets resolved one way, but it may not be resolved the way that I want it to, at least not initially. And I think it's going to be I'm going to be in for some heart-pounding reads in the next couple volumes in this series. If you have any suggestions on manga I should be reading, books I should be reading, or if you have any thoughts on volume 22, I would love to hear it in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.